Came across this Johns Hopkins study that said if a black student has a black male teacher, they're 40% less likely to drop out of high school.
Class is now in session. We learn why representation in education matters.
What we can't measure in numbers, we can measure in relationships. And it's invaluable that our students have those relationships.
Young African American leaders building relationships and delivering a curriculum to inspire the next generation. From WLWT, this is Let's Talk Cincy, presented by Western and Southern Financial Group. Put our financial strength behind you.
American science fiction author Robert Heinlein said, "When one teaches, two learn." An initiative by Cincinnati Public Schools to bring more mentors into the classroom is doing just that. Welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. I'm Stephen Albritton. The Be Present initiative focuses on placing black male tutors into classrooms to encourage and motivate children to learn. As you are about to see, that learning is a two-way street.
Let's try it again. You guys ready? What is the name of this number?
This is our first year here in Cincinnati area. We have 20 fellows, and all of our fellows are 18 to 24. They're placed in a single classroom for the entire year, delivering a curriculum and really just falling in love with their kids and giving them exposure to the field of education.
I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Cincinnati Public Schools. We have a Be Present initiative currently, and the way I connected to this program is our Read to Lead program. And participants or volunteers can enter as they feel they need to. That could come as just simply reading to students. We do have more specialized tutoring for those who may have an academic background.
So letters have names. What is the name of this letter? Okay. I'm a literacy tutor at Rising Stars Chevy at Westwood Preschool, and I help kids learn how to identify letters and numbers and build their oral vocabulary. Pull down straight and slide right. Good.
What word did we just write?
The research shows that when you read to a student, it activates their brain, it helps them with pronouncing the words correctly and just overall their fluency.
Numbers have names. What is the name of this number?
Came across this Johns Hopkins study that said if a black student has a black male teacher, they're 40% less likely to drop out of high school. So that's just the incredible importance of having more men, particularly men of color, in a school district like Cincinnati Public Schools.
You have to see it to be it, right? And so if you have an example of someone who looks like you, who may come from a similar background, whereas you may have been told that it's not cool to read or it's not cool to be smart, but when you see someone that looks like you who you can identify with, it changes your perspective.
What I always say is that you have the opportunity for oversized impact in your classroom, right? Specifically, as we're talking about early childhood education, it's 98% women. So getting them on the ground floor becomes just this great and incredible opportunity.
Just having that exposure, it moves the goalpost.
I would definitely like to work with kids probably after this. I wouldn't know about being a teacher because it might be like a little too much for me to handle, but I say working with kids as like a counselor and like giving them advices, having them come to my office and talk to me when they need to calm down or they need anything, I'd definitely love to work with that like later on in the future.
What we can't measure in numbers, we can measure in relationships. And it's invaluable that our students have those relationships, not just with their teachers and with their peers, but also with their community, because it just brings a sense of belonging and connectiveness that really just supports their ability to absorb knowledge.
I would say just go for it. You won't know until you actually try. So I would say I'll definitely encourage you to do it because these kids will really like, I'll come in here probably having a terrible day. I'll leave here with the biggest smile on my face just because of kids. So I really like encourage, like if you're even thinking of doing it, just go ahead and do it. Like you'll love it, I promise. Like, take my word for it. H is the name. H is the name of this letter. Good job.
When Let's Talk Cincy returns, CPS's plan to take the Be Present a step farther. How the district hopes some tutors will become teachers. Welcome back to Let's Talk Cincy. According to the National Education Association, only 7% of teachers across the country are black, and only 2% are black men. Leading Others to Teach, a local group is encouraging young men of color to get back into the classroom, starting with mentorship. Recently launched in partnership with CPS, the Leading Men Fellowship wants to bridge the gender and race gap in education.
It's just the importance of having African-American males in our schools and just the presence of males in general so that our young males are able to see themselves, to have role models in the classroom.
The goal is to truly create a pipeline of just available talent to enter into education, stay there, but also to further their own education so they can get associate's degrees, bachelor's.
Let's try it again. You guys ready?
Because I wish I would have had someone like a younger black male that I could have looked up to at that age to just ask for advice or just look at me like, oh, wow, I can do that too. Like, just be something great to have.
So I serve as the program manager for Leading Men Fellowship, which is a program of the Literacy Lab. So Cincinnati is part of a 3-city expansion. So came to Cincinnati, Atlanta, and then the Phoenix area. We got here through Greenlight Fund, as well as a lot of partnership that came through Cincinnati Preschool Promise. Cincinnati Public Schools was at the table from the very beginning.
I'm a literacy tutor at Rising Stars Cheviot Westwood Preschool, and I help kids learn how to identify letters and numbers and build their oral vocabulary. There's definitely more letters. Curve forward.
Play games with them, sing songs, and I write their name every day, help them write their name.
What kind of ball is this?
A basketball. Yellow.
So I previously taught at 2 camps in Bond Hill working with children, so I felt like this would be a good opportunity to get back into it because I did enjoy the time previously when I was teaching them.
We started this year again with the 20 fellows, and we look to be expanding over the next several years.
Q. Q, Q, Q. Q is the name of this letter.
What I always say is that you have the opportunity for oversized impact in your classroom, right? Specifically, as we're talking about early childhood education, it's 98% women. So getting them on the ground floor becomes just this great and incredible opportunity.
Other letter name. That's why.
Good job.
Some children don't have a role model in their life, and we're that for them. So we're definitely a good positive influence on their life.
I think the #1 goal for us, yes, we want to see the impact in the classroom. Yes, we want to build this pipeline. But my #1 goal, and what I've always stated, is that I want to build strong men. I want them to be better for having come through the program, not only just connected through to myself or resources, but I want them to kind of look at this as a brotherhood.
From the students to the connections I have outside of the school, also my fellows that I work with.
Whenever I come here, they just put me in a great mood. I love their energy. It's just through the roof. Like, there's no other words to describe it.
For more information on how to get involved with the Leading Men Fellowship, you can head over to WLWT.com, where we have all of that information posted. An organization seeking equality for a marginalized community. In just a moment, a conversation with the Greater Cincinnati Human Rights Campaign. Let's Talk Cincy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Let's Talk Cincy. The Greater Cincinnati Human Rights Campaign focuses on achieving equality for members of the LGBTQ community. That work is more important than ever today, as 2021 FBI statistics show 21% of hate crimes in Ohio targeted people in the LGBTQ community. In Kentucky, that number was 27%. In Indiana, the number 21%. All numbers you do not want to hear. Now, joining us today are Chase Rickey and Pam Kravitz, both from the Human Rights Campaign. Both of you, welcome to Let's Talk Cincy. And I know those numbers are certainly startling when we say them out loud across all 3 states that we cover, but HRC exists to combat that. So take us through real quick, Pam. What does HRC do? Why does it exist in the first place?
Well, you're right. Those numbers are staggering, and oh my God, I'm going to get verklempt because what HRC does is monumental and so important for equality for the LGBTQ plus community and the community at large. It is the largest foundation, the Greater Cincinnati Foundation and the HRC Foundation, the largest in the country, and it is there to combat hate, to bring knowledge and education to the community, the larger community, support our lesbian, our gay, our bisexual, our queer, all of the community, and that use different terms and different ways to describe their gender identity and their sexuality, and it just wants equality. That's all it is, and it is a powerful force. It is an amazing machine that moves the needle forward. It brings equality for marriage. It brings equality in the workplace, in the home, in community, and everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's, don't you think?
Yeah,
anything?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's the largest civil rights organization that kind of works towards LGBTQ equality at both the national level, the local level, the state level. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Jay, stay on top of that for me. Obviously, there's education and things that go into this. What specifically can people learn about, if they were to reach out to HRC and say, hey, I need help with X in my business, or I need X in my own personal life? What kind of things can they gather if they call you guys?
Absolutely, yeah. HRC has developed the Corporate Equality Index, which is a method where companies can work directly with HRC to create different benchmarks for them we score those companies based on what kind of policies they have in place that help foster an environment of equality for their LGBTQ employees. So we have that aspect, but also in local communities, we also have DEI programs where we can work with smaller businesses and things like that, which is basically a diversity, equity, and inclusion program. We also can present at schools to help educate, because I think education is really the biggest way to combat some of the violence that you see out there that we're experiencing as a community.
Mm-hmm. And Chase, you kind of touched on it there. Pam, there's always challenges to getting messages like these out. What hindrances, what holdups are there just to getting the basic stuff out there?
I think one of the major challenges is misinformation. And that is so prevalent right now with social media and other kind of outlets that people are, the misinformation about what is the queer, gay community is. And I think that's our largest challenge. So bring people in, educate them, say you are welcome here. We want you to be part of this larger community that helps support this community. And I think also, I know, being out there, being present, working with local politicians and national politicians to get the word out as well and to be supportive for equality in all aspects of our community, our lives, our home, and our workplace. So getting out there and saying, come on, this is about everybody. Everybody deserves equal rights.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, a lot of the work that HRC does at the national level is to help support pro-equality candidates. So candidates that are going to support the Equality Act, which is one of the last big hurdles that we have, which provides true, genuine, equal protections under the law. We just actually passed the Respect for Marriage Act. We were a big component of that, and that's basically to recognize, gay and lesbian marriages across the country, essentially. So.
And with that, obviously, this topic has become much more prevalent over the past 10, 15, 20 years, and especially in the last 4 or 5 years. What's been the feedback like from businesses who invite you guys in to talk to their staff about this. What's the feedback been after you guys have done your 6-week course, 10-week course, whatever it may be, but what do they come back to you and say?
Well, they come back and they are incredibly thankful, and they also, it's all about the education part and not knowing and not understanding, and they understand, and their employees understand. Kroger, P&G, huge allies and huge supporters of the of HRC and our community. And when they come back, the DEI, all of those kind of educational ways of communicating and teaching, when they come back to their workplace or to people that come in, or they're much more understanding and accepting and aware. And awareness, right?
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that comes with that is the ability to attract talent. You know, a lot of younger talent they're looking for pro-equality businesses. Businesses want to support everybody, and you know, especially being in a Midwestern city, you know, it makes it a lot easier to attract talent from other areas.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, that's a
so
really
true.
great answer. You attract everybody
I know.
needs employees.
I know.
Now, as we wrap up real quick, tell us a story, if you can, real quickly about us, a moment where somebody kind of had that like aha moment. Like I kind of understand now. Is there anything you guys can share with us real quick?
Wow, you want to go first on that one?
So, you know, I think one of the reasons I'm involved with HRC is that, you know, I don't want to just say I want to do, and I think that by, you know, being a part of this organization, it's brought a lot of, you know, my straight ally friends into the mix. They come to a lot of our events and things throughout the year, and they want to learn about our community and some of the struggles that we face, and want to be there to be supportive. And that's what I love about Pam, is she's one of our strongest advocate allies. You know,
love that.
Yeah,
absolutely love that.
And,
yeah. Real quick.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Real quick. Yeah, we're starting to wrap up, but go ahead and share yours. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that for me, it has been me. You know, it's like I have always supported the LGBTQ+ community, wasn't quite aware of how I can be more supportive and helpful. And by joining HRC and I love a party, so I love
I can tell by the shoes,
Can you
right?
tell by the shoes? It's like I love helping with the dinner. I love helping with the fashion show and the Her event, which celebrates female identifying parts of our community. I love all that. But I'm going to tell you one thing really quick, and I know
let's gotta go fast.
Okay, so I get to be in the Pride Parade a lot. Sometimes I drive a bathtub. I wear a big wig. Sometimes I get to MC, which has been amazing. But I have a larger, I teach art. I'm part of the art community. My students and my college students and everyone sees me, and they're like, they will come up to me later and say thank you. I see you, I know you're there for me, because I think it's such a vulnerable time for a lot of people to know where they are and where they want to be. So I love it. Okay, go.
All right, we're going to send it to break. Working in front and behind the camera, hear why representation matters in the media from WLWT employees. Let's Talk Cincy. We'll be right back. Black history isn't just about what happened decades and centuries ago. It also represents what's happening now. Some of my WLWT colleagues shared their thoughts on why representation matters and how it can shape our futures.
I had decided not to return to my job. I was sitting on my brother's couch watching SportsCenter, and Sage Steele was on there. And she's an Indiana grad, which is where I went. And she's also, I just saw this black woman talking about sports, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Once I got to high school, I was a part of a journalism boot camp for high school students. And so that was when I was like, okay, 100% yes, love this.
My journey to journalism actually probably went a lot differently than many folks. I was terrible in math, and so I wanted to find a profession that I thought presumably did not have to deal with a lot of math, which I was sadly wrong.
So I've actually known that I wanted to get into broadcast journalism since I was 11, which is a little crazy.
I actually got a Christmas present from my parents. They gave me a cable TV and a small television in my room. So I actually started off by watching SportsCenter every single morning at 6 a.m., downloading all the sports highlights from the night before and watching Stuart Scott, one of my idols in the sports business. And then from there, I kind of knew I wanted to be on TV in some fashion.
Honestly, Oprah and Ellen, they have had such a big impact and just impacted so many people's lives, have given back to the community, and I feel like that's what really was inspiring.
I enjoy watching a lot of music video directors put together certain pieces like Cole Bennett and like other directors. And then I also like watching stuff from radio and podcast interviews like Breakfast Club and things like that to see how they will put that together.
What pushed me to go to school for it, to further my education, was the death of my father. With his death over going on 7 years this year, he pushed me to do something that I wanted to do. And I was doing a whole bunch of open-ended jobs, not really getting nowhere, really not growing. I can honestly say when I made that conscious decision, yes, it had to take a tragedy to do it, but at the same time, it benefited my life.
I told everybody, I'm the next Oprah. Y'all didn't know? I'm the next Oprah. I kept saying it over and over again and really speaking that life into that manifestation and speaking into that prayer.
My parents watched all of the different stations, so that was pretty cool growing up and watching them. There was one named Darius Chisholm, who was the evening anchor at the NBC station, who I adored and was fascinated by. So the first time I met her, I think I was super wide-eyed, but so inspired just to meet someone face to face. She was another Black woman that I could look up to.
Even, here when, Ashley and I were lucky enough to anchor together for 3 years, that was just something you didn't see. It was, two Black people anchoring a primetime news show, and we got to do it. I don't know if it was the first in the market. It felt like it was, but, her and I, especially with Kevin as well, chief meteorologist, the three of us together, we definitely, took that seriously.
When I meet older people of color, older Black people, they're just so proud. And I always say my grandmother was born in 1922 in Jim Crow, Mississippi. I am her wildest dream. And she never got to see me live out my dreams on the news. But when I see the older Black woman in the grocery store, I know that she is proud of me like my grandmother would be.
For the broader audience, is that these are not Black stories. These are American stories.
Being my unique self, being able to express who I am and what I am, and having that freedom with no boundaries and limitations.
I love that I'm in a position to dig into stories and to tell these in-depth stories that matter and that maybe everyone doesn't see the value in, but I see value in, or that I'm able to get interviews specifically because they feel like they can trust me. And that is so important to me. I do not take that responsibility lightly.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for another edition of Let's Talk Cincy.